Hey Thrive Loud listeners, it's winter. There's a lot of things you're just gonna have to let go in this season, like the sun, the flowers, and the feeling of your feet, and so on. But there's one thing that you shouldn't let go. The Thrive Loud podcast, hosted by Lou Diamond. Just sing Let It Go at the top of your lungs. And remember that in the midst of this freezing winter where you're feeling like you just hate life, Lou Diamond will never let you go. Neither would Olaf. So go listen to this episode and more, because it's not like you're going to be doing anything better outside right now.
You don't need to play it safe.
This was spectacular.
And I'm going to be really honest, so I hope you don't mind.
Yeah, that's what we want.
And there will be bumps in the road. There will be twists and turns.
You needed moxie on the floor and volume.
It's the results and the connections and the improvement, the impact we have on other people's life. And that's when life becomes exciting.
Who do you turn to personally to get back on the thriving track?
I was really interested in how the world works.
Thanks for the great introduction.
It was really very simple. I just read part of your bio. Be brief, be bright, be gone.
Get ready to thrive loud with Lou Diamond.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond, connecting you to the most inspiring and amazing people that are thriving each and every day. Today on Thrive Loud, we bring you an inspirational speaker and live radio talk show host and an Amazon bestselling author. She speaks and coaches others to live through the grief, start their own businesses, and move to greatness in their life. She is the author of a book called Go For It, which is so perfect because that's really simply what you need to do. A Woman's Guide to Perseverance. The passion she has comes from empowering others to live in a positive life. She contributes to the Huffington Post and is one inspiring human being. Thrive Loud listeners, the Joe Hausman. Joe, how are you today?
I am doing great, Lou. How are you?
I'm doing spectacular. I need the Thrive Loud listeners to know that how I came across Joe Hausman was maybe a little over 2.5, almost 3 years ago. This person came out with a really important message, a big change in life, and was actually doing an interview on a show that both of us happen to have been doing an interview with, which was like featuring on our new books and our stories. And we got to sit in kind of like the green room and chit chat and catch up and all this different stuff. And she is one inspiring individual. So I would love, Joe, to kind of get a little bit of this roller coaster life, which has been this side of your life, the stuff you've been focusing on now, because I think our listeners would really appreciate kind of that change and the direction and focus that you have today.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. Yes. And it's always been an honor knowing you, Lou, because you are inspiring so much, so many people, what you're doing. But yeah, it really happened after the loss of my husband in 2010. I was at kind of a whirlwind. My only child went off to college a month after my husband passed away, and I had a successful business at home. I was what's called now, well, I was called then to a virtual assistant, but I really didn't know what to do after that. I really had to figure out what my life was and my purpose was after all that transition in my life. Even though I still worked in my virtual assistant business, I went back to college, got my master's degree, ran for political office, won political office, still sit on my city council today. But
I was going to say, what is that role? You're the city council person?
Yep.
Is that what?
Yep. I'm an alderwoman for my city council. I've also run for House of Representatives. I did lose that race, but it's all learning experience, right? It's all defining what we're supposed to be in this life. Well, and my son had come home from college. Oh, he had been in college a couple of years. And he goes, Mom, we should really write a book together about the experience that we had. And I said, yeah, we probably should. And lo and behold, contacted the publisher. And really what I wanted to start off as a book did not end up that same book. I was like, okay, well, I wanted it this way. And he said, no, I think you need to go over and do it this way. Well, once I did that, and I was scared to death. I was like, that ain't happening. But once I I'm not going to say succumb to it. Once I realized that that's true, and that's really how I needed to heal from everything that had went on. And my husband was wonderful. He was absolutely a wonderful man. But, he had a life-threatening illness that he had been sick for quite a while. And just heal from all that. Well, so the publisher said to me, what do you always say? Is there a saying you always say? I'm like, Yeah, I always say go for it. He goes, well, there you go. That's the name of your book. I'm like, well, rock on. So that's how my whole business mantra has come now because of my book, Go For It, A Woman's Guide to Perseverance. So now I go around the country speaking about go for it. And I also teach other people how to go for it in life and also through media services, because really that's how there's so many people that are afraid to dream, I think, are afraid to really go after what they want in life because of the disappointments and those type of things. I'm like, look, I'm like the epitome of disappointments and failures, but I still keep getting up and going every day because what we fail at sometimes is leading us to bigger and better somewhere else. So that's how I've always thought about it. Like something that doesn't work over here is going to work over on this side. And that's how I've really just went with my life. And it's been great.
So I want to jump in here, Joe, because this is going to get tactical here. An inspirational Nike message, and go for it, or whatever it might be, or Rocky Balboa. I can't remember who said it first. How do you go about telling someone to go for it? Help understand, I guess, maybe how you get somebody to move who's maybe not moving. What are the actions that you take to help get them to go for it?
Absolutely. When I really start working with my clients is I start honing in on what they want out of their life. What is something they truly, truly inspire to do? I have so many friends who go to work every day and worry if they have a job the next day. And I'm like, does that make you happy? Does that fulfill you? And they're like, nope. So I'm like, well, let's look at plan B. What's your plan B? What's going to make you tick? What's going to make you get up in the morning? And the same thing I do with my clients. What's going to excite you to get you up in the morning? And a lot of them will say, well, I love photography, or, I want to start my own business. I want to have, a health food market, or I want to own a diet nutrition center, or whatever the case may be. So I said, if that's what wakes you up in the morning, that's what you need to go after. And if you don't know anything about it, let's start taking the steps necessary to work toward that dream and goal. Because that way, or maybe they just want to, maybe it's more on a personal level. Maybe they want to get healthy. Maybe they want to lose 10 pounds. Whatever the case may be, there's always action steps to be put into place. So for example, I have a current client who has several businesses, but she's not happy with those. So we worked through the plan, and she owned probably 7 locations, and she's actually ended up selling 3 or 4 of them. And she is so much happier now, and she's not losing money every month, and life is good. Whereas I have another client who's just starting off and not really sure what she wants to do with her life. So we're really starting off with the basics, just like, okay, again, what gets you up in the morning? What do you like to do? And then we start with that, and then we kind of work our way backwards. Then I'm like, okay, could you get yourself up early, an extra half hour during the day, because you said you're so busy, you don't have time to do any of this, or you're not making it a priority. So,
Joe, what is the biggest roadblock that you encounter across your clients, across the people you speak to, or across those you talk to on your talk shows? What is the biggest roadblock that everyone seems to run into when they have trouble going for it? Is it letting go or fear of moving forward into the unknown?
I think it's both, really. But it's the fear of the unknown. So many people want to have a mapped out plan going, okay, I know if I take that leap, then that's going to happen. But yet they're too scared to take that leap. And I'm like, well, if you know what's going to happen, then why don't you take the leap? And to me, it's just like common sense, but to so many people, it's not. And I have to, I realize that because there are some times that I probably should have taken a leap in some direction or another, and I didn't. And I get it. I understand that. So then we work through that fear. We work through that mindset. The mindset can be so hard or so closed that they've been told forever that, no, why would you ever open a business? You're just going to fail. Or so that's their mindset. Whereas in reality, we all have choices. We all can listen to either the negative people or the positive people. And I choose to listen to the positive people. And I'm a total optimistic person. And I know there's pessimistics and realistics, but I'm totally optimistic. And I read a lot of business books. I, read a lot of self-help and motivational books. And just because I've known how to go for it, I guess, that I just keep moving forward, and I do the same thing with my clients, and I help them move forward.
Hey there! If you're enjoying how Lou is connecting with this guest in this interview, then just imagine how impactful he can be in person. As an international speaker and consultant, Lou Diamond is all about getting organizations to thrive through the power of connecting. To learn more about how you can hire Lou to speak at your company, your conference, or your next event, head on over to loudiamond.net and click the Book Lou button to learn more. He'll truly get everyone to thrive loud. All right, let's get back to the show.
So let's talk about the fact that you have this as a women's guide to perseverance. And I think what is interesting is that I think we both agree that your message isn't solely geared to women. Mm-hmm. It can be geared to anybody. Mm-hmm. So help me understand, I guess, from your perspective, because you yourself, I guess, had to go for it, dealing with the personal loss, making a decision to do the things that you love to do each and every day. How is that message translating not just to women? It's translating to everything, because I've heard you speak to groups of lots of
absolutely.
People.
And the very first person to read my book was a gentleman. And it was, I'm like, I just need to know would you read this and just see what you think? And he's like, sure. And he has sold more books for me than anybody, because he just goes around and tells everybody about it. We'll go do trade shows together, and he'll be selling my book for me. And I'm like, oh, wow, cool. But yeah, it's really for both men and women, because men are really good about making a decision and just doing it. Women, we're not that fast. We like to sit and ponder about it. We want to talk to about 3 or 4 or 5 of our friends and family. We want to just really kind of soak it in. Whereas men, they're really good about, nope, you know what? I like that idea. Let's do it. So that's why I love talking to men and getting them to open up their minds even more to how their business can explode, and really going after what they want in life. And the same thing with women. It just takes them just a little bit longer, because as women, for the most part, we're the caretakers, we're the nurturers, we take care of the family. Now, that is all reversing, and a lot of men do the same thing. But it really is our mindsets and our wanting to take care of everybody else first before ourselves. So that's why it's really important that I talk to both men and women about being able to really open up our minds. And a lot of times I'll talk to both spouse, like the husband and wife. Say it's the wife wanting to really do a business, but she wants her husband's support. So the husband will come in and we'll talk. I'll be like, okay, this is, we're not going to go and make $1 million tomorrow, but we might make $1,000 in the next month or so. Would that be okay to you? And he's like, yeah, let's do it. So as long as we can get them to open up their mind and open up that there's so many more things out there. I mean, I started my virtual assistant business with no social media at all. Social media wasn't even invented yet. So I was able to do that way long before that, and I was all virtual. So there was other websites out there that just wasn't social media. Now with social media, I mean, your whole reality can expand. And I know some people are scared to put things out there, for business purposes, but really that's how I've grown my business. That's how I've grown my radio show. That's how everything is growing for me.
I love asking this question, Joe, because I'm curious to know. You do a lot of things. You speak, you write, you coach, you lead. You've got virtual businesses. You've got all these different places of things that you're doing stuff. Is there one particular thing you love doing more than another?
My radio show.
Tell me why.
I absolutely, positively love my radio show. I love being able to interview people from around the world, and I love to get to know other people and what makes them, thrive, thrive loud, and really what gets them to go for it in their life. Because people, when they come on my show, they have to have a story of kind of before, during, and after, kind of like my story. But I really want to know how they're helping people now and what got them to do the business that they're doing. And I love, like putting on my headphones, I'm just like, I'm home.
We'll have you sing later for the audience here.
Yeah, no, that's okay. No singing.
So Joe, and I totally get it, because the ability to listen and hear the stories is great. It's like the best entertainment, but it's also, you get to kind of control the play button as to what comes out of it. And that makes for a great host, which I've heard your program and you do a great job of it. Here's a question.
Thank you.
Here's a question for the woman who goes for it and is always on top of her game. Like everybody else, we've all had down days. When you are having trouble thriving, Who or what practice do you seek to get yourself back on the thriving track?
Absolutely. I do a lot of reading, and I also do a lot of meditating and praying. And then I will reach out and talk to people, and people who have done it bigger and better than I have. I'll reach out and go, you know what, I really need to talk with you today, or can we have coffee this week, or something. And people are really good about opening up. A lot of times I just want to build that relationship with them, but I just want to learn from them too. So I open up, and that's taken a leap of faith for me, because there's a lot of times I'll be like, oh no, they'll say no. Why would I ever reach? But I'm like, you know what? Just ask. That's the best thing to do, is just ask. Because, if you get told no, you get told no. But that's what I really do. And there are days, as you know, running your own business, being solo entrepreneur, it's, you have to have those days where you're out talking to other people and getting to know what they do to get themselves built up if they're having a bad day. And then again, I meditate, I journal. I do a lot of journaling. I try to journal every day. Sometimes it's about 5 days a week instead of 7 days. Meditating, praying, and really just getting myself up early. And I started that practice here this year in January. It'll be almost a year now. But I get myself up at between 5 and 5:30 every day, every morning, and get up and start reading.
You wake up to read. I love that.
I do. I wake up to read. People think I'm crazy, but I'm like, I like doing it. That's the only time I really get in during the day to do it.
It is interesting. As you just mentioned this, I think, and it's now leaning me towards asking a question that I've started to recognize. Like, we have certain questions I love to get out of guests, and I always hear this. Mm-hmm. You did a good job here of hitting the things that you need to do to get yourself back on the track that gets you thriving. Mm-hmm. Maybe what is a good story as a host from hearing all the different ups and downs, anything recent on your program that when you heard a certain story or a practice or something that somebody did to really help themselves that really moved and motivated you, what was something recently that came across your earwaves or sound waves or the radio waves that really affected you? A guest on your show, something recent, because I'd love to hear what that is, because you and I sit in that spot and there's a lot of those, but sometimes we never get a chance to really share it because we're so in the moment of sharing that. Anything recent?
Yeah, so I interviewed a lady, a fellow entrepreneur, but she was from Australia. And she had been, and to talk with her now, I would never guess this about her. But years ago, she used to be really hardcore, like when she was out in the business world. And she was pretty high up. I think she was a COO of a company. But she used to be really high up. And she goes, I was hard on my people. She goes, I was downright mean to my people. I'm like, shut the front door. You do not sound like that at all. She goes, oh, Joe, she goes, I've had a total transformation. But that total transformation had to come from a personal loss. She lost a son. And then she said, and then the universe said, well, because right after the loss of her son, she went back to work right away because she didn't know how to be a grieving mother. And she admits that. And so when she went back to work, she said, well, the universe said, well, you didn't listen the first time, so I'm going to tell you the second time, because then she went in and lost her job. And it was probably, 6 months to a year after she lost her son. And I said, yeah, isn't that ironic? Like, the universe tells us what we need, but yet if we don't listen, it's going to come back and keep telling us until we finally do listen. And I think her story and we're similar to some extent, but we're different as well. I mean, I was not, when I was the owner of my own company, I wasn't a hardcore person, but just her and her zest for life now, and how she says that her son is always with the one who passed, is always with her. She said, he's almost more with me now, more than he ever was before. And I said, yeah, that's exactly how I feel too. And so we really had a connection there, but hearing her say it from a different point of view just meant so much to me and meant so much to my listeners, because my show is live. Yep. So when it's live, then people can call in with questions and email and text and stuff. And it really makes a difference, because then people can let me know and let her know what a difference they've made in their lives.
And that's powerful stuff. And I guess I was going to ask, because you obviously shared that you had that same feeling. How's your son as he deals and relates with what happened to the loss of his father?
He's doing really well. He has met a wonderful woman, and he is getting married now in next year. But matter of fact, I just had lunch with him today, and he's doing great. He really is. He's 27 now, and he was 18 when all that happened. And he's settled down. He's, life is good. It took a few years because when he went right off to college, I was more worried about him because he was about 3.5 hours away and worried about everything that went on with him and what he was dealing with because we really only had a month together before he left for college. So as best as I could, as best as a mother can, try to keep kept my eye on him, but yet I had to let him experience college. And he had a couple friends up there with him, so that made me feel better too. But yeah, he's doing much better now. He's always done well, but it just took a while to get over those humps.
Yeah, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. Joe, let's get the admin part out of the way. Give all the plugs and places that people can find you on your show, on your websites, for your book. Let's do that now. We'll put it in the show notes, but it always comes out better when they hear it from you.
Absolutely. You can go to joehausman.com. And what I tell people, I'm the female Joe, so that's J-O. So joehausman.com. You can also email me, joe@joehausman.com, if you have any questions. My book is also found on my website, and my radio show is also found on my website. Or you can go to iTunes, Roku, Stitcher, Google Play, and my show is also there as well. If you go to iTunes, you can just Google my name, Joe Hausman, and it's right there. And all my past shows, I've had my show now for 2.5 years. And all my past shows are there. And you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram. I'm not very good on Instagram, but Instagram and Snapchat.
We'll work on you. We'll put a nice image of you on there and make it look really great. Okay, so Joe, this is a good question. You've been going for it, and you continue to do so. Mm-hmm. And I know the way that your mindset thinks and understanding what you're about. Have you set maybe like a good BHAG for yourself, a big, hairy, audacious goal that you're trying to achieve that you see maybe for the upcoming year for 2019, something that you're looking to do?
Yes. I want to go speak in Australia and New Zealand.
Oh, wow.
That is my big goal. Mm-hmm.
I just recently saw one of I think it was the middle of the Lord of the Rings movies, and I forgot the name. It's like the Two Towers or something like that. Mm-hmm. And there's that famous battle scene that they film in New Zealand, which I now understand they actually have a tour. They have a tour of all the places that they filmed Lord of the Rings all throughout New Zealand. And I heard it's unbelievable. Like, it's like really cool, like half living the movie, half seeing it in real life. So,
and that's what I heard. And then I have a second cousin that just went to live abroad there for a year. She just went like a month ago. So I'm anxious to let her settle down a little bit, kind of get in the swing of things. I'm going to reach out to her and see if she can find some places for me to go speak.
I did have a real fun conversation. The week that we recorded this particular interview, an episode came out with Sue Bryce, who's a very well-known photographer, and she is a Kiwi. She lives in Los Angeles now, and I totally made fun of her. I'm like, what the hell are you living in LA for when you came from New Zealand? But look, she's done business on both sides of the world, and but only speaks so highly. There's a sense of pride over there, and you're going to have a great time.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Well, that's my big audacious goal.
I like it.
So, me too.
So with that, Joe Hausman, what is your all-time favorite movie?
My all-time favorite movie, and it kind of depicts me in maybe a little bit, Sweet Home Alabama.
Oh, that is a good flick. And why does that movie connect with you?
Well, because she left small-town America and went to the big city and then came back. And that's kind of what I did, maybe a little bit. I moved away, and for 10 years, I had to go explore the nation, United States. And then I came back. And I came back for family. And I don't know. I've watched that movie so many times. And that's probably the number one show that I've ever watched that many times.
Oh, wow. There you go. And for the Thrive Out listeners need to know that Joe actually resides in South Dakota, as I understand.
I do.
That is correct. And specifically where in South Dakota?
Right by Sioux Falls area. Yep.
All right.
Mm-hmm, which is our biggest city in the state. A lot of people, when they think of South Dakota, it's the Black Hills and it's Mount Rushmore. That's actually on the opposite side of the state of me. So I'm on the eastern side.
All right. You're a little bit closer to this side of the world.
That's
on the East
right.
Coast,
on the East Coast. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, Joe, this has always been a pleasure. It is so great to always chat with you. You continue to inspire what exactly you're all about, which is to go for it. And I love that message, and continued success for you. And I can't wait to hear about your trip to the other side of the globe when you get there this year.
Thank you, Lou. Well, right back at you. And I can't wait to get you on my radio show.
Well, I look forward to it. We're going to have a lot of fun with those callers in. I'm going to have to stay in for the live-in calls because that'll be a fun time.
Yeah, it's a good time.
This has been awesome. Thank you all for joining us. And until next time, keep thriving onward and upward. And remember, be brief, be bright, be gone.
You've been listening to Thrive Loud with your host, Lou Diamond. Make sure to subscribe on iTunes, Overcast, or wherever you get your podcasts. And follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Thrive Loud. Or find us on the web at thriveloud.com.